Hi, good morning from Marianna. Wow, Women Award for another episode of our Wow Voices Speak Volumes. And today we have a very special guest. Good morning, Victoria.
Good morning, Marianna. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited, Victoria, because I know you can bring joy, energy, and the improvisation that we really to have an authentic life. So you are actually the first guest for our spring edition for Wow Festival. You know that?
That's very exciting, and I'm honoured and now a little bit terrified, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just I'm just thrilled to be here and to talk about improv as always, but also in the context of the Wow Women of Worth festival, which is just so exciting to be a part of.
Oh, thank you. I really honest having you and Paul, which is part of improv, and then we can discuss a little bit further. I really love what you do, but before we get to the details of it, I
Mm.
really want to start before you are going to do the official introduction of yourself. I'd like to know what you think in order to come across in an authentic way, someone should own the room or walk in the room, what is the one thing you really think is going to be something that say, oh, wow, this is authentic and is someone that I'd like to talk to?
Okay, I love this question. And it feels like a lot hinges on it. It's very important. And it's also, by that very nature, a bit scary. And I think that that's something that we have to contend with. For me, and we know that the word that I chose for wow, your authenticity umbrella, my specific word was charisma. But I think above and beyond charisma is the thing that one should own is connection. For me, connection is everything. It's the one thing that you can try to control, and it's the thing that people want more than anything else is connection.
Well, I love it because everything about wow, we do marketing, personal branding, and definitely when I talk about marketing, everybody is asking me, what is marketing? Everybody has an assumption about marketing and thinking is driving sales, which is the end result. But actually, if we think about marketing, is
Mm.
connection all the time, is what is the thread really in order to have before you have the engagement, during an engagement, and after the engagement itself is a connection. And I think the way we do business as a women is actually what we really crave before we are doing business with someone. We want to feel connected. But my question now to you, talking about connection, and because we are in a wow festival for marketing for women in business, what do you think is actually missing for women? Because the connection is our key, but we feel disconnected. How we can instead able to have that connection and feeling us fulfilled and attracting business.
I think it comes back to authenticity, which is, of course, the umbrella term this year. And I've spoken a little bit about charisma. I think that, well, I would say this because I'm an applied improviser. The company that I run with Paul Speirs is called Improv Inc. But I think that the connection that one makes using improvisation is one which is incredibly authentic and connective and long lasting, because let's not forget we want to build relationships and connections that last, across years. It's not just simply one and done, is it, in this world of business? We want to find partners that we're happy to work with across decades potentially. That's the thrill of it.
Mhm. Yeah, and so you introduce yourself with your company, but I'd like to know a little bit more what you do because I know what you do, and I think what you're doing is something very incredible, energetic, and powerful for women as well as men, of course, but especially for women to go out there. So I would like to know more about improv, what you do, and actually exploring a little bit more about your view on charisma.
Certainly. So in a nutshell, improvisation and improv comedy comes in two different forms, flavors, in two different sort of buckets, if you like. The first one is improv to entertain. And so that might be Whose Line Is It Anyway? The TV show, or a big West End show like Showstoppers or Ostentatious, the improvised Jane Austen novel. That's improv to entertain. The second way of looking at improv and working with it is improv to solve. Improv to solve. And that's what I would be coming along and working with your cohorts in order to find them their best results using applied improvisation. So applied improvisation is just improv plus. It uses the tools and techniques of improv comedy and stage improv in order to discover and work out the preordained thing that you want to solve in the room.
Wow, I love what you do, because I think improv is seen only as stage, as you said, something that you are the stage and you entertain people. But the way you guys apply into the business world, and when I discovered for the personal brand helping you to stand out, that is amazing. So I want to know a little bit more. What are the strategies and the way you are able to help business owners in order to come across authentically and have fun and perform in the sense that
certainly
make results? Yeah.
Yes. Well, this is it. I mean, the thing is that it's really important that we understand that improv is learning by doing. There's certain ways of learning stuff, but it's a type of embodiment and embedding of knowledge that's called kinesthetic. Mm-hmm. So by doing stuff, you actually get to learn how it works. And that, of course, in the world of business management, in the world of marketing, and in the world of performance in general. I mean, and as by performance, I mean performing as a human being, as we have to do in business, as you know so well. Improv is a really beautiful way to allow one to create a safe and robust container in which to take the kinds of risks that we need to be able to take in order to get better at something, right? Because you have to practice. That's just life. We should all understand that. It's not that you're immediately going to be good at something. And I think that marketing is a really interesting animal in that it's so exposing, right? You're taking your business as a business owner, you're taking your business and you're showing it to the world, and you're saying, this is what I do. And this is where it gets really interesting with women, in that I feel as though there's a little bit more nuance and complexity to how women societically are invited to be perceived, and how they want to be perceived, and how they are perceived by their audiences. And that's all so complex and specific that it's really great to be able to have those training wheels in order to get used to it in a room that feels like it's very supportive.
Absolutely, because I think you're absolutely right. The fact that with marketing, there's this exposure. We put ourselves in the hands of someone. Say, this is me. So basically, it means you really need to be so confident in who you are in order to be out there and be, eaten by someone else. And the judgmental, fear, but sometimes the self-doubt and the self-esteem. So is improv then a way also to be able to be up there in a more confident way?
Yes, indeed. If you look at my LinkedIn profile, you'll see that my tagline is the confidence whisperer. And although confidence is such a sort of nebulous, amorphous thing, it really can be trained for. I think that I often talk about the twin pillars of authenticity and professionalism, so that, of course, we have to show up as our best selves in terms of professionalism, in terms of business, but also it is important to be authentic. And I think that modern day social media has proved this to us. You know, people are showing up in ways that are surprising and different and wholehearted and relational and compassionate and vulnerable. I think that's a really important word. We all know Brené Brown and her incredible TED Talk that was the basis for that whole vulnerability movement. But I think it still stands, and I think that it's very important. So how do we match that? How do we square that tension between vulnerability and confidence? And that's something that improv is really good at, because it allows us to show up in the moment. With improvisation, you're not rehearsing, you're training, because it has rules, just like a game of football has rules, right? A game of hockey, a game of netball. These all have rules, but you never know what's going to happen when you actually hit the pitch and have that unique, every time unique configuration of players, conditions, skills, talents, different literal game moves. So this is what we're able to do with improv. We are able to allow people to be in flow, and that's one of the books that I absolutely love, which is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi's 90s book, Flow. Because I think that improv is a moving meditation. It's like yoga in that respect, in that you have to be in the moment in order to really show up in the best possible way for yourself, for the people around you. And so I think that being in the moment is important, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable without allowing your inner critic to take control. And that's where where the boundary lies, so that you can understand that, yes, we all have an inner critic, and that's appropriate. You wouldn't be a human without it. It's how we keep ourselves safe as human beings. But at the same time, we need to be able to parent it like our inner child, and be able to put it to bed when it needs to go to bed, or to have a conversation with it that feels, adult and realistic at any given moment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and I love it. And I love, or actually, you answered part of my question that I had in mind while you were speaking, because you're talking about there are rules, so you don't rehearse, but actually you train. And this is so powerful, because I think nowadays when we show up, especially public speakers, or you are doing a presentation, and you rehearse and you make it, and I found sometimes very robotic in the way you need to perform, and you need to get across a message for sure. You need to craft it and making sure that is flowing, and you rehearse it. But sometimes I really feel that we lose authenticity. And the fact that my question was to you then, what is then the boundary between being able to improvise and be, a performer in that respect, and then instead not come across as a fake one? Where is the boundary between reality and improvisation? So reality, and rehearsing that is making you looking like someone that is faking it. And that is really, in my opinion, the challenge, especially for business owner. What is your view in respect of how you can rehearse, making sure that you have the skills in the improvisation, and where instead you can rehearse your public speaking, for example, and not coming across like a fake one?
I love this question. I think the expression that springs to mind when you're talking is getting something in your body, so that literally your muscle memory takes over, doesn't it? Lev Vygotsky talks about zones of proximal development. And of course, you know, as a child, you can't just show up and build a campfire. It's not within your skill range. You have to be shown how to do it. There's a kind of a parallel learning experience. And so I feel very strongly that it's important to practice, in fact, to rehearse, but also to be able to understand that you are allowed to be unique. And being unique is so important. There's a quotation, I think it's by Mel Robbins. She says, "No one else is you, and that is your superpower." And I kind of love this because it really is. I think that I'm seeing a lot on social media recently about, I guess, millennials and a kind of a cookie cutter way of dressing. You know, there's a very deliberate and universal look that seems to be happening across certain professional stratas of different pockets of industries. I wonder if that's an attempt to be authentic while also at the same time being confident. And I love it. If that's what works for you, that's fantastic. But there's also the opportunity always to be unique. And it's the universal in the particular, isn't it? So you can say something particular, and this is what improv is really good for. You'll say something that you think is only true to you and no one else has that experience, then fantastic. In the group, you've come up with something that's brand new and we can all work with that, right? That's exciting. Thank you. Thank you so much for thinking of something that's new to the group. You can say something that at least half of the group are thinking. Maybe everybody was thinking that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for showing up and saying what we were all thinking, right? For embedding the universality of whatever it is that you just said, and that unique and universal tension that is across every room and every dynamic, and is so crucial to marketing, because you want to be able to say, "Hi, I'm different. I have a unique selling point. I'm a unique, authentic business owner who can deliver what you need, precisely what you need, and I'm different from all the rest, and this is why." But at the same time, saying, "I understand exactly what you're going through, and I have a broad appeal in that respect, and an understanding of the wider needs of whatever your niche market might be." What I do find really interesting is that it's a little bit different for women, because, and this is illustrated. I love this book. I'm going to show you this book because I love it so much. The Authority Gap by Marianna Seacard. And I'm a huge fan. She's absolutely smashed it with this book. It is chock full of statistics, all about the authority gap. Now, what is the authority gap, if I may? I'll take 30 seconds explaining it. It is that, and I'm going to be very broad with gender here. I do understand the complexities and the intersectionality of different types of gender, and I don't want to label it or nail it down too much in those terms. But let's talk very broadly in this moment, right? If you're speaking or trying to connect as a man, then your likability goes up in line with your authority. So the more space you take up, the more authority you use. Sorry, what was that?
Power.
Yeah. Power, exactly, yeah. So the more of that you have, your likability will pretty much go up in the same way. However, as a woman, again, I'm being very simplistic with gender here, your likability will likely go down as your authority goes up, and as your likability goes up, your authority will go down. So this is they're at odds with each other. And so it's a constant balancing act for women that I think that is not quite appreciated by people more widely as something to be aware of. And that means that if we're not aware of that particular tension, it can be very discombobulating. It can be confusing, literally confusing. Oh, I'm being so likable. Why is nobody taking me seriously? Oh, I'm absolutely at the top of my game and I am full of brilliant insights because I'm an expert. Oh, but nobody seems to like me very much. And of course, being liked is not a prerequisite, but we need to have that connection. Again, we come back to connection and charisma, don't we?
Absolutely. And this is also leading down to authenticity. When we feel this gap, we either say, I have the knowledge, I have an expertise, they lack me for whatever I do, but my authority goes down, you become losing your authenticity because you're trying to regain, in a way, your power, and then you show up for something that you want to prove you are, and actually there's nothing to prove, it's just living it. And the point is always sacrificing is your own authenticity. That's where sometimes, what I was talking about before also, is when the reality and the fiction is going to be the right balance in order to not to lose your authenticity. And I know that is really the real social challenge. This is the way I call it, which is authenticity. But going back to your word charisma, that is really powerful. And again, I think that the charisma is very much linked to the power, authority. But what is the view from your end, and actually why you picked up charisma as a word under the umbrella of authenticity? And what do you think what means charisma nowadays, if it's still valid in a way for what we see in the social media and around in real life?
Yes, completely valid, because you want people to pay attention to you. Social media has changed the way we tell story, right? It's now it's now in very filmic terms, in cinematic terms, and it is so personal. All of it is so personal. You can't kind of get away with delivering your message without delivering a large part of yourself, right? This is how people come to trust one. Trust, again, another really important word. So I think that charisma is a really, look, it's a slippery snake, isn't it? And it's also sort of, why do I have to, what does that mean, charisma? Why should I have to show up and be charismatic? I'm good at what I do. I want to help you. What does charisma have to do with it? But I think that it's perhaps it's I think let's look at it in terms of it being an externalization of the confidence. All right. You have an inner, you want to be able to find, source, be at peace with your inner confidence. If we're talking about externalization, that will come across, if we do it right, as charisma. And so charisma, what does it mean? It's dictionary definition is it's a compelling attractiveness. It's something that can inspire engagement from other people, even devotion, right? And that is a kind of a sugarcoating of our expertise and perhaps a little extra turbocharge to our likability, which can feel a little bit more status driven than perhaps simply being likable. Being charismatic to me feels like being shiny and having the authority as a performer, as somebody who is taking the stage, who is happy to be perceived, to a new level. And that for me is a gift that one can give people no matter what their business is. It's just a little extra shininess, isn't it? We come in all shapes and sizes. Women are fully given permission to be all different types, right? I don't think that we do have to fit into a mold anymore. It's really almost as though social media, for me, has allowed everyone to find their tribe, and that's beautiful. What that means is that everyone can show up in a different way. And you might think, well, why do I have to be confident, charismatic? I know what I'm doing, and this is what I want to say to people. Well, I think that it's really nice just to use a little bit of stagecraft to elevate people in their desire to find their right people, to find their prospects, to find their ideal clients. There's something very nourishing about that, because we're spinning, as business women in the world, we're spinning so many different plates, not to mention the private and personal plates as well, but just simply in the world of business, spinning so many different plates as a solopreneur, or as a small to medium business enterprise, or even a cog in a team, or a team leader, or, as part of a bigger company. It's really about taking away some of that extra stress, right? Because it's all so stressful. It's all so stressful. So let's just diminish a bit of stress. Let's make it so that you don't feel like the next thing that you say will have you kicked out of the tribe and sent out to be eaten by the saber-toothed tiger. Let's make it so that you're going to feel like you're comfortable with what you're delivering. And then you can really free yourself up to think about what it is that you want to say, to do with your work, rather than to do with your actual literal personality or character or worth as a human. Because that's one of the concerns, isn't it? That we are having to wrangle how society sees us as people, as well as simply what we want to deliver as a business owner.
Yeah, but when we talk about, for example, charisma, I was thinking, who is charismatic to me lately, or if I look around, I found very little charismatic people. But I agree with you, when you see a charismatic, personality, is an attraction in the sense that, oh my gosh, there is an aura around them, and you are attracted, and you feel you put like on a pedestal, say, oh, this person is so charismatic. It's nothing to do with the beauty, with the knowledge. It's just the way they move, or they talk, or look at you as a pearl of wisdom, whatever they say. So, oh my God, this is some juice of gold coming from their mouth. But my point is that maybe charisma is a way how you can get it across through personal connection. I don't know if it's my experience, but I feel like, especially in social media, that screen, that charisma is diminishing. So you can see the authority. So as you said, the juicy part, of the external part. So you see the authority, but the charisma, which is how they get across, you are losing it through the media, which is social media. I don't know if happens to you as well, and you have experienced something like that. That when you see someone charismatic in person, when you see in the video, is missing, maybe because of the connection you're talking about, that is not physical connection, and you lose it. What's your view on that?
Look, we're all terminally online, but let's not forget about pheromones. And the literal fact of being in the room with someone changes the nature of it. Now, it might change it for the worse, but hopefully you've done enough work that it won't, that it will amp it up. And I do, when I'm running courses to do with confidence that are online based, or with people who are running a lot of calls online, I always advise that you have to turn it up by 20% or so. I think it was, Shark Tank, which is the US equivalent of Dragon's Den, the TV show, where people come and bring their new inventions, etc. I think it's Barbara Corcoran who said, charisma is not just saying hello, it's dropping what you're doing to say hello. And there's something really beautiful about that, because it's not about being obsequious, it's about honoring whoever's in front of you in a way that's very powerful. There's a great book by Viv Groskop, who I'm a real fan of. It's called How to Own the Room. And in that, and in a further book, I think called Happy High Status, Viv talks at length about being happy high status, so that you can have high status, therefore probably quite a lot of power, and yet at the same time be very willing to put yourself out for other people, be very happy to help others, rather than show off, how much power you have. And so it's finding that balance, isn't it, of serving others without diminishing yourself, right? It's such a fine balance. And I think that, to come back to improvisation, we have so many different activities that build the room, that shape people's experience, that allow people to debrief on a certain exercise in a way that's really powerful and memorable, and allows people to understand that they can show up in the way that's best for them, but also not lose sight of their purpose and of their own principles and their sense of passion.
Brilliant. So, but what is this passion coming from, your improv? So you've been doing improvisation, and then how this come? So what this coming from you?
Oh, well, I've been improvising for nearly 15 years now, and been running for 12 or 13 years this applied improvisation business. Most recently, it's been such a thrill to pick up with a business partner and to start to work together in that respect. So my brand new iteration is called Improv Inc., and that is with Paul Speirs. And it's given both of us a newfound love for the whole experience of applied improvisation and helping others, really, because I think that's what really matters to me, is making sure that other people find their best success on their own terms, and it's just I'm not able to tell people what they already know. Everybody already knows. In any room that I walk into, they already have all the answers. There is no question of that. It's just that I'm a very experienced cheerleader and facilitator who is able to give people that courage to and awareness to come up with what they need in that moment, going forwards.
Yes, and I just love it, because I'm in personal branding marketing, and I do know the struggles for people to show up the way they show up, and sometimes if they don't have the script. Even now, with me and you, we said, okay, we plan to have this conversation, but we don't have questions that I shared. But I understand some people want some questions, the script, but I think it's a way to come across with confidence, authenticity. If you own your content, the exercise to not actually focusing on your content, and what is your performance, but how you serve your client. And I think the benefit of basically get out of that box, that is, we need to be prepared, we need to know our script, is actually our prison, the prison of our authenticity. The prison of giving ourselves. You were telling before, marketing is trust. You are putting someone else's hands what
Yes.
you do. I say, yeah. And people can really kill you if you are doing something wrong. And with personal branding, the way you show up, it can be very scary for who is not comfortable. So sorry, you might want to add anything.
Well, you just reminded me of an expression that I love, which is train hard, fight easy. And again, we're getting back to the sporting analogy here, whereby improv and quite often I have people saying to me, oh, just making it up as you go along. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not making it up as we go along. We absolutely know what we're doing, and we know how best to serve ourselves in any given situation as improvisers. You know, of course, all the choices are there. You know, if you want to think in terms of divergent thinking, it's all at your disposal. But what's going to further your cause best in that moment? And that's what one is always looking for, you know, whilst also supporting others. I think that in very simple terms, I'm an agility coach. I'm an agility coach. And so understanding that one can be perfectly agile and resilient and serve whoever is in front of one, while at the same time being true to one's principles and being ethical is possible. It's perfectly possible, and it's a really nice space to be in. It's something that you can really enjoy.
Yes, and also you were talking about people criticize or improv. Maybe you are making up along the way, but even that is a skill. If you are able to make it up, and you are doing, it doesn't mean that if you're cheating is a different story. But if you are making up, or coming up with something beautiful, that is a talent. Actually, it's not.
It's an absolute talent. Yeah, it's so creative. It's so imaginative. It's let's call it brain gym. Applied improvisation is brain gym. And so you are able to access the most creative part of your brain immediately. It doesn't mean that you're letting go of your safety net brain or that you're being all jazzy and wacky. That's not what it's about. But it really does allow you to be the most creative version of yourself in a way that's really exciting, because you're not only being very creative, you're also problem solving. You're also tapping straight into the logical part of your brain that says, what's the best course of action in this moment? That's really thrilling, to be able to do that, so that you don't feel like you have to keep control of the situation, because you cannot, as you've said so clearly, you can't control the situation. It's what we call a VUCA world, volatile, absolutely, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. And this term is, it's really nice to meet it head on with improvisation and improv comedy and the good humor and the sense of play. It's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about play, and humans connect through play. They communicate through play. And that's not to say it's mucking about. It's just basic human communication.
Absolutely. And also, when you talk about the fact that the authenticity and the brain gym, if you think about what is saving us nowadays, is actually the only thing is creativity, because we are going to ChatGPT, we have the answer, we have the knowledge, the information through ChatGPT. What is the difference making us standing out is our creativity. And actually, a lot of people, while they don't know things, they might be on their phone with asking ChatGPT for the answer and looking good. But I think what we are leveraging now is the capacity to be agile and creative. That is something that I'm sure nobody can replace a human being for that. Hopefully, maybe our generation will not see it. But now what is making the difference in anything is really creativity and agility, because it's something that we don't have the answer. Even when we do the prompts with ChatGPT, you need to think.
You still have to, yes, exactly. You have to know what you're asking for, and you have to know how to translate it to your audience. Let's get back to marketing. It makes no difference if you've got a wonderful answer if it doesn't connect with your ideal client.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are going to have soon our workshop in London. So on the 14th, is going to be on the 24th of May. You are going to be with Paul for our first day, which is on Saturday from 9:30, 4:30. Who does know? We are just starting now promoting our event. So do you want to share anything with our audience what you're going to do?
Do you know, I hate throwing the word fun about because it makes it sound so unserious, but it will be really fun. It's going to be really fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And every exercise that we ever run is completely bespoke to the group that we're running it for, and so we'll get really deep down into the nuts and bolts of how to connect best with charisma and awareness of the authority gap potentially for this particular cohort, and dig into that sense of connection with our ideal clients, with the people that we want to speak to, with those people for whom we can really give a good service, deliver a good product. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So fantastic with the U instead of the A. It's going to be fantastic.
I love that. I'm going to use that. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, fantastic. So, no, and do we have to be prepared? So, in the sense that our dress code is going to be casual. So, do they need to bring anything in terms of equipment, or they just need to show up as they are?
Just show up as you are. If you have any accessibility needs, any impairments, we will take that into account. We will make sure that you are comfortable and that your sense of learning curve puts you really nicely into the middle of your stretch zone so that you feel like you're learning without feeling too stressed about it in a way that's really nourishing.
Absolutely. I love it. I really look forward to see you in action together with Paul, because I would like to talk about briefly, because we have 4 minutes, what the activity you do, because I am joining every Tuesday. This morning we had the improv breakfast, but today I will learn something else about this improv connection, which is something interesting. So would you like to share a little bit about these 2 appointments you have scheduled for the time being?
I'd love to. Thank you so much. So the improv breakfast is Paul and I every Tuesday morning at 9:30 in the morning, British time, UK time, talking about the newsletter that we put out the week before. And we choose a different topic each time. And it's just what we've noticed in our everyday lives to do with that topic, whether it's bringing energy, whether it's percolation in thinking time, whether it's status, we'll just hone in on one particular thing. And then we'll talk about it the week after the breakfast. You can sign up for that on our website, improvinc.co.uk. We also have a connection, which is a bit of a deeper dive. That lasts a whole hour rather than just half an hour. And that's where we are walking people through whichever particular tranche of business we're working on in that quarter. And this quarter, we're looking very specifically at the client clarity compass. Now, what is the client clarity compass, you ask? Well, it's all about niching and ideal client. And so absolutely chimes perfectly with WOW. It's understanding that as a business owner, knowing how to talk about your business and specifically what it is that you are selling is so important and gets so muddy, so overwhelming, because of course we all know a million things, but it's hard to niche down and be specific about what we want to project. And therefore, who is it that we're speaking to? Who is our ideal client? What do they look like? That's kind of an avatar that some people talk about. And of course, we do this through the lens of applied improvisation. So again, as I said, it's kinesthetic learning by doing, and a beautiful way to get your business in really great shape for the clients that you want to talk to.
Fantastic. And when is going to be this the connection one?
The connection is on the 8th of April. The 8th of April. So again, it's Tuesday, and that will be next Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next Tuesday.
Yeah, around midday. Around midday. Again,
around midday.
improvinc.co.uk, and you will find the registration link there.
Brilliant. All right, honest, is always a joy, fun, and there is so much energy. I love talking to you, and yeah, oh, so nice. Thank you, and do look forward to working with you and Paul in person on the 24th of May, as I was saying, from 9:30 to 4:30. Full day, so I will share the link for the information for the registration. And in the meantime, also, I'm sure we are going to talk before the event, because I really want to be more about personal branding, the way how you guys help men and women professionals in their business, because that is very important to bring to the table. Because guys, I'm talking to the audience. We need to make life is difficult. Life is can be very tough, but it's always about the way how you face it. So let's do through with a smile, light-hearted, and joy, because we want to be contagious in a positive way, not COVID way, but with the same effect. So thank you very much, Victoria, and I look forward to seeing you soon. You take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.